Get ready for your daily dose of inspiration.
And the problem is this: women are not making it to the top of any profession anywhere in the world.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most inspiring TED Talks that will change your life. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at the best TED Talks to watch if you need a boost.
And by doing so, be free to focus our time, energy, and money on the stuff that really makes us happy. Well, I figured out how to do it. It is great, and I call it the life-changing magic of not giving a
Number 10. What makes a good life? Lessons from the longest study on happiness. Robert Waldinger.
If you were going to invest now in your future best self, where would you put your time?
Psychiatrist Robert Waldinger has been working on one of the landmark studies in psychology, which was created by Harvard University over 75 years ago. The Harvard study of adult development has been following 724 men since 1938 and tracking all aspects of their lives, including happiness.
Year after year, asking about their work, their home lives, their health, and of course asking all along the way without knowing how their life stories were going to turn out.
Waldinger shares his insights on how to live a happy life that he's gleaned from his work on this groundbreaking study. After watching this, you'll want to improve your work/life balance and spend a little time with your loved ones. Number 9. We need to talk about an injustice. Bryan Stevenson.
The United States now has the highest rate of incarceration in the world. We have 7 million people on probation and parole, and mass incarceration, in my judgment, has fundamentally changed our world.
Bryan Stevenson is a human rights lawyer who has experienced segregation firsthand. His talk is all about the racial divide in America and how significant injustices still exist even in the modern day.
The United States is the only country in the world where we sentence 13-year-old children to die in prison.
He takes a look at the prison industrial system and examines what the death penalty says about the American judicial system.
The other way of thinking about it is not do people deserve to die for the crimes they commit, but do we deserve to kill?
His frank assessment about how Black men are treated in the United States is eye-opening and will give some context for many of the major news stories taking place today. Number 8. Your elusive creative genius. Elizabeth Gilbert. You may recognize Elizabeth Gilbert's name because of her hugely popular memoir, Eat, Pray, Love.
They come up to me now like all worried and they say, aren't you afraid you're never going to be able to top that?
Since the publication of that book, she has gone on to focus her career on the study of creativity, publishing works like Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear.
And somehow we've completely internalized and accepted collectively this notion that creativity and suffering are somehow inherently linked.
The idea behind this talk is that geniuses don't exist in the way we traditionally think of them, but that rather all of us are capable of our own type of genius.
And how are we to relate to it in a way that will not make us lose our minds, but in fact might actually keep us sane?
If you need some convincing to get a move on that project you've been thinking about forever, this is the talk for you. Number 7. What we can learn from spaghetti sauce, aka choice, happiness, and spaghetti sauce. Malcolm Gladwell.
Assumption number 1 in the food industry used to be that the way to find out what people want to eat, what will make people happy, is to ask them.
Pop science expert Malcolm Gladwell is known for his hugely popular nonfiction books like Outliers, The Tipping Point, and What the Dog Saw. Before the publication of his book, Blink, Gladwell gave a TED Talk that honed in on what he believes makes people really, truly happy.
There is no perfect mustard or imperfect mustard. There are only different kinds of mustards that suit different kinds of people.
In the talk, he gets hyper-focused and talks about the marketing of different types of food in relation to the nature of choice and human desire. You wouldn't think a comparison between Prego and Ragu would be this compelling, but you'll be on the edge of your seat. Number 6. The Power of Vulnerability. Brené Brown.
Connection is why we're here. It's what gives purpose and meaning to our lives. This is what it's all about.
Vulnerability, says academic and storyteller Brené Brown, is a state that is underappreciated in our society. She wants to dispel the idea that letting yourself be open-hearted is a negative thing that should be avoided at all costs. Brown wants to encourage people to use this emotion as a positive stepping stone towards a better life.
The one thing that keeps us out of connection is our fear that we're not worthy of connection.
If you're someone who has a hard time opening up and letting yourself feel vulnerable, this talk will help you to feel more confident doing so. If you're interested in the topic, Brené Brown has also published many books, including Daring Greatly and the aptly titled I Thought It Was Just Me, But It Isn't. Number 5, Why We Do What We Do, Tony Robbins.
People say to me, well, I don't need any motivation. And I say, well, that's interesting. That's not what I do. I'm the why guy. I don't know why you do what you do.
The life coach and self-help guru delivered this groundbreaking talk in 2007. It has gone on to be one of the most viewed on various platforms, and for good reason. Robbins posited that all humans have 6 core needs, but that we all balance and prioritize them in different ways. These needs are certainty or stability, uncertainty or variety, significance, love, growth, and contribution.
But the other lesson of life that is rarely mastered is the art of fulfillment.
Being aware of these needs and making a conscious effort to keep them in check is the key to happiness and fulfillment, according to Robbins. Number 4, your body language may shape who you are, Amy Cuddy.
We tend to forget, though, the other audience that's influenced by our nonverbals, and that's ourselves.
We all know how important body language can be when it comes to communicating with others. But did you know that your body language can also impact how you feel about yourself? Expert in the field, Amy Cuddy, takes the radical approach that we are able to trick our brains into feeling more confident just based on the way we stand.
When you feel powerful, you're more likely to do this, but it's also possible that when you pretend to be powerful, you are more likely to actually feel powerful.
She even presents the science behind it to prove that it actually elicits a physical reaction in the body. There has been much debate on the topic, but whatever side you land on, there's something to be learned here. Number 3, do schools kill creativity? Ken Robinson. Sir Ken Robinson may have a PhD from the University of London, but he's a staunch critic of the education system.
Nobody has a clue, despite all the expertise that's been on parade for the past 4 days, what the world will look like in 5 years' time. And yet we're meant to be educating them for it.
Robinson believes that the current way that school systems function worldwide are discouraging rather than promoting creative thought.
And my contention is all kids have tremendous talents, and we squander them pretty ruthlessly.
He has his own ideas about how the system can be reformed in order to let creativity flourish, and he presents these ideas in his talk. As of 2017, this is the second most viewed TED Talk of all time, with tens of millions of views across a variety of platforms.
What we do know is, if you're not prepared to be wrong, you'll never come up with anything original.
Number 2, the power of introverts, Susan Cain.
All the times that I got the message that somehow my quiet and introverted style of being was not necessarily the right way to go, and that I should be trying to pass as more of an extrovert.
You may have noticed that there has been a lot of talk about introversion in the past few years, and the surge in interest for the topic can be partially credited to a talk that Susan Cain gave in February of 2012. The world's appreciation for the quieter portion of the population can be traced back here, and in the time since its release, the idea of introversion has been viewed in a much more positive light.
But many of us do recognize ourselves as one type or the other. And what I'm saying is that culturally, we need a much better balance. We need more of a yin and yang between these two types.
Cain hypothesizes that the world is built for extroverts, but that we should adapt to include the power of introverts in our daily workings. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Image is powerful, but also image is superficial. I just totally transformed what you thought of me in 6 seconds.
So what the discovery of African writers did for me was this. It saved me from having a single story of what books are.
Light burned my brain like wildfire, and sounds were so loud and chaotic that I could not pick a voice out from the background noise, and I just wanted to escape.
Number 1, how great leaders inspire action, Simon Sinek.
Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him?
In this powerful speech, author and motivational speaker Simon Sinek looks at what makes people want to follow in the path of others, be it in the political world or the business world. He asserts that the big question behind the motivation of accomplished people is not what they do or how they do it, but rather why they do it.
When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior.
This talk will give you the inspiration you need for your own ventures and help you on the way to achieving your goals.
If you're the kind of person who likes to have total control over every aspect of your life, boy, do we have a product for you.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from MsMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.